Okay, hello. Just hopping on here, 7:30. I am Jen Pike. Welcome. Gonna give it a moment for you guys to be able to tap in here and then just make sure that you can hear me and that you can see me, and then we're good to go. Hi, Megan. As you are coming on, if you can just let me know, hi Miranda, that you can hear me and you can see me. If you can just type into the chat bar there. Hi Marissa. You can also just hit and give me some likes or give me some hearts to let me know that you can hear me and that you can see me and that that is good. Awesome, Tracy, Carrie, and Miranda. I'm getting waves. Okay, so I'm going to assume that the waves mean that you can hear me and you can see me. If one of you can just tap into this bar here, I'll do it so you can see where those are coming up. That would be fantastic. Jillian, Megan, Rebecca. Awesome. Christine, Cheryl. Yay. Okay. All right. Lots of you coming on here live. So welcome. This is a conversation that, oh my gosh, I have probably every single time that I am talking to a woman in private consult and in my private practice or through the Hormone Project. If hormonal acne isn't something that maybe you are suffering from right now, maybe it's something that you had previously. Maybe it's not acne that you're suffering from on your face. Maybe it's on your chest, on your back, on your glutes, on your arms. Maybe you are listening tonight for one of your children. Maybe you have a daughter or a son who is going through hormonal acne, and it is a painful experience to go through. You know, it's embarrassing. It is hard on your self-esteem and your self-confidence and your self-worth. And I'm going to be talking primarily from the perspective as a female and our female hormones tonight, but I did have some moms reach out and say, is this applicable to boys as well? There are many things that I'm going to touch on tonight that are just like human specific, regardless if you are male or female. There will be some different hormone specific parts, but I think that you are all going to benefit regardless of who you hopped on here for tonight. So if I can just get a sense from those of you that are on, you can either just do a wave or you can just tap the screen. How many of you are on here because you personally have suffered from hormonal acne? Or maybe you don't know it's hormonal acne, you have just suffered from acne in general. Right, if you can just let me know, indicate on that. And as you guys are doing that, yeah, a lot of you. Couple things of housekeeping. If we lose connection, don't worry about it. I'm recording this. It will be left up on the page. We're also going to flip it into a YouTube for you. And if you're on a mailing list, you're going to get that and we're going to put it out there for you. So I put a really vulnerable post out there this morning. On my Instagram, if you follow me, and I had not planned on doing that, but I've been putting a couple of posts out lately about hormonal health and about liver care and the connection to acne. And I had a couple of people reach out and say, you know, what do you know about acne, Jen? You have clear skin. And I said, you know what, I do. I have clear skin now, but I didn't for a really long time. And it was very difficult to go through, and being in the industry and being a nutritionist and, you know, looking and saying, how much cleaner can I possibly eat? How many better products can I utilize? How many other supplements can I tap into? And still nothing was improving. It was a really challenging 8 solid years for me. 8 years is what it was for me to go through and really figure out what was going on, and to get my attention in the right direction, to create a protocol and start to put that in place for myself to heal my skin, and then start to utilize it with clients that I was working with as well. And so what is my story? I had a lot of people reach out after I posted that picture and say, well, it's not even that bad, right? I was like, oh my God. You can't win sometimes with people. And if you read in that, I said, even in that photo I posted, I still had makeup on. I still had concealer on. I couldn't even bring myself to take a photo of what the real truth of my skin was. And at that time, it was so congested. It was bumpy to touch. It was mainly all around my chin and my mouth. It had started at that point to get up into my cheeks as well too. I went through a period of time where I thought I was getting rosacea because I had all these tiny little red bumps over my forehead. I thought maybe I had gotten like, had an allergy to the sun. I was coming up with all of these ideas, just trying to rationalize in my mind what the heck was going on with my skin. And one morning I was in the bathroom and I was like, I need to take a picture of this because I know in my gut I'm going to heal this and my skin's not going to look like this. And I want to be able to take a photo so that I can actually show where I have gotten my skin to come through and come from on this journey. But I couldn't do it with a totally naked face. And so I put concealer on even to do my before picture. And I think about that now and I'm just like, that's how hard it was for me to be honest and real about what was going on. So it was very awkward for me to post that and put that out there this morning, especially because there's a lot of, pressure put on those of us that are in the industry that you have to look perfect and be perfect. And it's exhausting. And so sometimes you just don't share the real struggles that you are going through because you just don't know that people are going to connect to you on. And what I've realized that that's just not true at all. And that if I'm going to be as committed as I am to helping women in their health and their hormones and rebalancing their system, I need to share more about my own personal stories and struggles, that have been going on. And that this is really the reason why I do the work I do, why I write what I write, why I lead the workshops that I lead. And so here's my story. And so I'm going to kind of catch you up to speed and then take you back because this is where a lot of women's issues end up, is that they end up having hormonal acne or post-baby or post-birth control pill acne later in life and think that they're getting adult acne, when in fact this is something that had started in their system many, many years ago, but there was some form of suppression that was going on. So for me, I had relatively good skin. As a teen and in my 20s, I had my first child. My first baby was a baby girl 12 years ago, had great skin throughout my pregnancy. Gave birth, skin was still pretty good. I wasn't good though. She screamed and cried for probably her first 9 months of life, like 9 hours a day. I wasn't sleeping. I was very thin. I was really kind of losing my mind and just surviving and trying to kind of get through the day. I wasn't really taking good care of myself. My hormones were at like probably a very low level looking back now. So there wasn't much to stimulate acne because I just wasn't being stimulated in any way. I was just trying to get by on very little were probably in some chaos at that point. 18 months later, pregnant with my second child, which I didn't know at the time was a boy until I was about 5 months along. And not only did I have like the nausea and all those things my first trimester, but I started to get really bad acne all around my chin, all around my mouth. And I was just like, I have never had this before. Why is this going on? Okay, so I'm pregnant. I'm thinking, okay, this is just hormones. And then I find out that I'm having a boy. And in my head, I'm like, interesting. I carried a girl and my body was fine. I'm carrying a boy now. My lifestyle is not very different. It's pretty much been the same for the last year and a half. And I'm breaking out really badly. And so I started to take a look into what that meant. And it was like, okay, these are the androgens. I'm carrying a male who has, more androgenic male hormones, more testosterone, and the metabolites and all these offshoots, and it's throwing my body out of alignment, or it's waking something up in my body. And so I started to ask more questions about the men in my, my bloodline. Well, my dad had bad acne, my brother, so I'm adopted. I met my whole birth family, and so I have that whole history. So the oldest of my birth brothers, he had acne so bad that he went on Accutane. That's a really bad case of that androgenic acne. My birth dad, really bad acne as well too. Not my birth mom, not my birth sister. I was like, okay, this is really interesting. Carrying a boy, and this is like waking up all these androgens in my body. I went to my naturopath. She was like, I think this is a really fair hypothesis that you have that's going on. Unfortunately, because you're pregnant, we can't do a lot to detoxify certain hormones and that until you've had the baby, you've gone through breastfeeding and all of that. So I went through that whole pregnancy with my skin being a mess. I then had Sam and I nursed him for 18 months and my skin was still a mess. And I was trying to use all the things I knew how to do. I was changing up my skincare products. I was going to get facials. I was doing all of that. And it was actually just aggravating it and making it so much worse. And I did this bouncing for 8 years of just, well, maybe if I try this skincare product, maybe if I try this topical treatment, maybe if I repeat these affirmations and these mantras and I wear certain crystals in my bra and then say a mantra about clearing my skin, that will make the acne go away. Maybe if I just cut out all sugar, maybe if I never have another sip of, red wine again. And I was trying all these things and I'd get like a little bit of relief and then be right back at square one, or sometimes even worse. And so as I was going through this, I was starting to think, okay, if I was a client coming to me, how would I treat this situation? And what I would do is I would do a timeline therapy on this person. I would ask them as far back in their history of their body, everything that they could remember from the time that they were carrying their mother as a young child all the way through to where they are now. Because this is what you have to understand, ladies, is that your signs and your symptoms and the issues that are going on, whether it's your skin we're talking about, or your gut, or your weight, or your thyroid, your adrenals, reproductive, whatever it may be, it didn't happen yesterday and then show up today. This is stuff that has been a slow build for a long period of time. And in my case, that's exactly what it ended up being. So when I sat down and essentially did a consultation on myself, what I started to put together in the puzzle pieces is that, so I went on the pill when I was 15. I was not put on the pill for acne. I didn't have acne before going on the pill. I wasn't put on it for irregular cycles. I asked to go on the pill because I knew that I was going to start to be sexually active. And so I was on the pill at 15 until I was 22 for 7 years. In the same period of time, and now ladies, just so you understand, if you didn't watch my birth control awareness webinar last week, or Facebook Live, it was pretty kick-ass, and we can get you a copy of that. But the pill really acts like an antibiotic in the gut and your microbiome and starts to break down and destroy that. And so your resiliency, your immune system, the permeability in the gut, the increase in food sensitivities, those types of things can really start to arise. And no matter what's going on in your body, the gut is always the root and the foundation of where we start your healing from. So my gut was already compromised because I was on a birth control pill. Now, if you had asked me back then, the way I was living my life and how I was eating and all those types of things, did I think that my gut was compromised? Was I having digestive issues? I would have said 100% no. It's what I was used to. At the same time, I was very deep into modeling. So I modeled for years. And with the agency that I was with, part of their protocol for their girls was you went to see their celebrity dermatologist in Toronto. So I went to see the dermatologist and he said, skin is pretty good, but we are going to put you on this topical cream that we put all of our models on that's just going to help to make sure that your skin is good. So when you've got shoots and stuff like that happening, we don't have to worry about anything. And I was like, amazing. That sounds fabulous. So I was given this topical cream. It was a prescription. Again, I'm 15, 16 years old then. I'm not connecting the dots to this. My parents didn't either. It's a prescription cream we have to go and get from the pharmacy. I applied this to my skin 2 times a day from the time I was 15 until I was 24. So 9 years I applied this to my skin, okay? And I didn't know at the time, but it actually had 2% antibiotic in it. It had a 2% clindamycin. And the reason that this dermatologist formulated this cream, and this is a very common thing I see in my practice with the antibiotic, is that when you do have acne, there are certain bacteria that are on the surface of the skin and that are actually working with the sebaceous glands and the oil that you are producing and the dead skin that's there, and whatever's going on in your hormones that can actually start to create this cystic acne, the kind of acne that hurts under the skin. You can feel it kind of brewing. You know that something is coming on. And so they gave me this cream in order to use. So again, I didn't know. I just thought I was getting like the celebrity model cream. Amazing. So I never had any skin issues. Husband and I moved to Australia and I didn't take the cream with me. And I started to break out and I was like, this is crazy. And I was like, what have I changed? Well, yes, I'm in Australia, but I don't have that cream. I had my mom ship it to me as soon as I started putting the cream back on again. I didn't have the breakouts anymore. Still at this point, didn't know it had a fucking antibiotic in it. I get back home and I am now really immersed in nutrition. I'm taking all these courses on estrogen dominance and hormones and doing all of this stuff. And my husband and I are engaged at this point, and we're getting married, and we know that we're going to want to start a family. So I'm taking a deeper look into the things that I'm putting into my body. And I decided I came off the pill at 22. As soon as I learned about the impacts of that, I got that out of my system. But I stayed onto this cream. So when I came off the cream, it was simultaneously coming off of that and really supercharging my body with lots of nutrients, changing up my products, doing all of this stuff. So I think I didn't see the acne come on then because I was really supporting myself. Fast forward to having children, which is such a huge stressor on your body, carrying a little boy, which brought all those androgens out. And it was just like shit hit the fan in my system. And every suppressed hormonal issue I had going on for all the years of being on the pill and using the cream and all of that just came to a head. And like I said, for those who are just joining, I was talking in the beginning, and you'll see the replay. For those 8 years, I just bounced from trying to do this and trying to do that. And it wasn't until I had that aha moment of recognizing my own timeline, what had built to this, that I was able to start to make the changes. At the same time that I recognized all of this going on in my body, a girlfriend and colleague of mine, I was having a conversation with her, and she said, "Oh my gosh, I've started to work with a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner for my anxiety, and he is helping me so much." And I was like, "That's amazing." I said, "Do you think it's just the acupuncture that's helping you calm down for your anxiety?" And she said, "No, he's got me on these specific tonics for my liver, my kidney, and my spleen." And I said, "Well, why is he using those 3 organs to try to help to balance out your anxiety?" Because I know of the connection from the liver to the hormones and the kidneys to the ovaries and those types of things. And so we got into this deeper conversation. As she's talking and telling me and all of her successes and how she's feeling, I am literally sitting there gobsmacked, just like, oh my gosh, liver, of course. I haven't been addressing my liver. Your liver has over 500 daily jobs every single day. And then every day it is hammered by chemicals, pesticides, pollutants in the air, products we're putting onto our body, food that's coming into our body, unhealthy water, not natural sources of different supplements, crappy ones we're taking in, medications, negative energy, all these things. Plus your liver is where you metabolize your hormones, primarily your estrogen. So as she's telling me about this, I just automatically, I'm like, what's your Chinese medicine doctor's number? I need to go and see him. I feel like he is going to be this link of healing for me. So I went down to go and see him. I sit down in his chair. He takes my pulse. He's, mapping my tongue, looking at where I'm breaking out, looking into my eyes, getting a little bit of information from me. And he is just like, your liver has so much heat right now. We need to calm and cool you down. Like, it is just working so hard. And in my head, I am thinking, how the heck is my liver bogged down? I'm a flippin' holistic nutritionist. I live this healthy life. How is my liver not doing okay? And so when we were talking, him and I was telling him my timeline history, he's like, you don't understand. Like, when you take the birth control pill, like, it forever changes the enzymes and the DNA within your liver. Like, it literally is like it's injured and harmed. And until you go through that process of detoxifying that out and then helping to make sure that all of your metabolites of your hormones are moving down the appropriate pathways, your body is literally holding on to all of it. It's like this deep source of inflammation, and your skin is what is going to show it. Your skin is both an endogenous and an exogenous organ, meaning your skin is going to absorb and take things in through your pores and your holes, and your skin is going to push things out. It's our largest organ. It bypasses our gut. So when you have issues showing up in your skin, this is literally a mirror that is telling you something is off in your body. And this is what my body was screaming at me for 8 solid years. Jen, there is something off in your system. But I was stuck in this place of just what we're all taught. Change your products, do all this. And all those things help, but I wasn't going below the surface. I wasn't digging deep enough. So with him, we started to do acupuncture. So in the beginning, I was going once a week for acupuncture, and then I was doing different liver and kidney tonics in the beginning. I didn't stay on the kidney stuff for long because my kidney energy was actually really good, but it was my liver. And so I would go for these sessions. Within one session, literally I left, I got on the car, and I was like, My skin wasn't as red. It didn't feel as like hot and irritated and sore. And so I was like, okay, maybe that's just placebo because I want this to work. And it started to make a shift for me. It really started to. The tonics helped. Then I came back and I started to write down everything that was going on. I started to create these steps of where does the average person need to begin as a foundational point to clear up what's going on in their body, regain this health in their gut, support their liver, and support the hormones and all of their pathways. And so I worked alongside him, and I'd go to him every week for the first bit and say, okay, these are things I'm doing. He'd say, okay, yes, no, tweak this, do that. We would try some things. Some things I tried to do, I tried to detox way too soon. My skin just went berserk. So I'd get a couple months of relief and then I would just go crazy. And I would be so frustrated. I would be like, why is this happening? Again, I feel like I'm doing everything right. He's like, you're moving too fast. And this was another light bulb moment for me with clients, is that we're all so focused, like we want the results now. Even people reaching out to me today when I posted that acne picture, they're like, what do you mean it's going to take 18 months? Like, I don't have time for that. You don't understand what I'm going through. I'm like, every day for 8 years, woke up, looked in the mirror and was like, how do I not be out in public today? Like, I totally feel what any of you who have suffered from acne or anything that has just made you feel smaller about yourself in any which way or form. For me, it's not like, and this is the hard thing too as a practitioner. People look at me and say, well, because it's not your weight, because it's not this or that, like big deal. Everyone has their own thing. You do not know what someone's stories and struggles are, and you have no permission to be able to pass judgment on that. So those of you that are struggling, like, I see you, I feel you, I hear you, and I'm just holding space for you on this. But what I was noticing in clients is they were going too fast. They were bypassing getting a healthy body overall and running out to buy all the supplements, the detox teas, the extra fiber, doing all the things. Meanwhile, they weren't even pooping on a daily basis. They didn't even have a healthy diet as their foundation. They weren't drinking water, and they were just going and dumping all this money and all this stuff into the excess things, and then just jamming more in their system, further overloading their liver, further overburdening their gut, further toxifying their system instead of doing the opposite, which is pulling the load off and detoxing their bodies. So it took me, every time that I went, I felt a little bit better, but I would say honestly, it was about a full year before I felt like, okay, I'm in this for the long haul now, and I'm going to stay committed to this process because I know I'm going to have clear skin. I am going to be able to heal this. And this was 2 years ago, and like, I can get up close for you, and my skin is not perfect. It's my GPS now. I now know if I'm not respecting my body, if I'm not taking care of myself in the way that I know I need to, my skin is my GPS. My skin is my mirror. For some of you, like, we all have an area of vulnerability. For some of you, maybe when you don't take care of yourself, your stomach and your gut is the first place you feel it. Your digestion is off, your bowels are off, you're bloated, you're gassy, you just feel gross. For some of you, maybe your vulnerability is you get headaches. When you don't take care of yourself, you are going to get that headache. For others, it might be an injury that every now and again just decides to revisit you because that's your area of vulnerability. My vulnerability is my skin, and primarily on my face. This is where my body's going to communicate with me. Jen, you're taking care of yourself and your endocrine system and your gut, or you are neglecting yourself. So I'll still get some breakouts, but now I know, and I recognize it, and then I just pull back to what I need to do right away. And so that's the thing to understand too, is that this whole idea of like making everything be perfect, you have to let go of that. Just start to see that a change is happening and that you are starting to get closer towards feeling. For me, it was like, I want to be able to go outside without makeup on my face. I want to be able to work out without concealer on my skin, because those things make it worse. I want to be able to just like run out the door to go and grab something without feeling like I have to make sure that I'm covered up. And so when I started to feel like I was able to do that, I knew the healing was starting to happen. So I'm going to take you guys through what some of these ahas were. I'm going to take you through. So I've actually like written it all down here so I get it for you. Some of the questions you need to ask yourself so that you can maybe start to figure out where your personal issue with acne or your children's acne is coming from, because there can be a lot of different reasons as to why this is happening. So you can get a pen and paper to take some notes. We're also going to have the recording of this posted up. So if you just want to like listen and be really attentive right now, you can do that as well too. And as you're posting comments at the end, I'll leave it open for questions so that we can kind of get more to it. Yes, that's the hardest part, is believing in yourself and what you're doing is healthy and will work. We just need patience to give our body time. I struggle with that. I hear you. And listen, do you know why we're all like that? It's because we are being, I don't know if you know this, but you're being trained and conditioned every day in society that it should be happening now. Everything is about intensity. More. You need this. You're deficient in that. You need to have this product, this thing. You stand in the aisle in the grocery store or at the cash register about to buy your healthy food, and you are surrounded by the magazines and the messages telling you it's still not enough. You're not enough. And this person lost this amount of weight in this amount of time. This person cleaned their skin up in 2 weeks' time, which is bullshit. Like, that's not actually true. And if people are achieving things like that, I guarantee you it's not for the long haul. So you just have to stay in your lane, stay focused on what it is that you're doing, and know that you are building your healthiest body possible moving forward. But you do have to have patience. It took us time to get unwell. It took us time for our skin to flare up. It took us time for these issues to happen in our hormones. It's going to take time to undo it, okay? It's really important to understand. So for me, the big things that I was looking at in unraveling this 8-year struggle with acne, and I guarantee you I would have had this for even more than 8 years had I not been on the pill and not been on that cream, which was suppressing it. I guarantee you I would have struggled way, way more. And I want to help women so that they aren't struggling too. I don't want you to go onto the birth control pill to try to help your acne, because it won't help you and it will be 10 times worse when you come off. I can guarantee you that. This is a big part of what I teach in the Hormone Project, and helping women do a post-birth control detox, like helping to get it out of your system so that it's not staying in there and wreaking havoc. So if you've been told that the only way to heal your acne or the best way to heal it is to go on the pill, I'm telling you that's absolute BS, and there are way better things that you can be doing. So where it started for me, for what I had to look at, and then the questions you're going to ask yourself. What was going on in my liver? Why did I have all this heat? What was happening in my actual hormones? And this goes beyond just your blood work. So for a couple reasons. Number one, in blood work, we're only going to be able to measure, or your doctor's only going to measure, typically your estradiol, your progesterone, your testosterone, and your DHEA. Okay, we have 3 different types of estrogen. We also have metabolites and offshoots of these hormones, the way that we are breaking them down, and then what pathway are they being sent down in our body. Blood work doesn't measure that. The only comprehensive test that measures that is a Dutch hormone panel, which your doctor won't even know what that is. There is one lab that runs the test out of the United States, Precision Analytics. It is the test that we use in the Hormone Project, and it is a dried urinary total complete hormone test. So this is looking at the whole shebang, all those pictures. This was like insane. So this time around the Hormone Project, I'm actually sharing my results that I did a 1.5 years ago and that I just redid, because the difference is like night and day, and it's from following my own protocol that I share inside. Was I detoxing? Was I eliminating? If you aren't pooping every single day, you are retoxing your system. If you have really bad acne and you aren't having a poop every day, and not like a coffee-induced poop, you are constipated, and we need to get your bowels moving, because if you're not pooping, you are not detoxing. And if you're not detoxing, you're retoxing. So this could be problem number 1, is you are not having a daily bowel movement. And then it was looking at things like, what's my B12 like? What's my iron like? What's my thyroid doing? So I needed to step back and kind of look at that whole system, my whole body as a whole. And the problem is that what we do is that we just go and get, new face wash. We try Proactive. We try whatever type of thing it is. And we think that the topical thing is what's going to fix it. You have to remember that your acne is not there because of the lack of product. The product might be making it a bit congested and flaring it up, but that's not the root cause. The root cause is what is going on from the inside And why is your body so dramatically pushing this out? Why is it coming out in certain areas on your face? So there's face mapping. So where you break out is very indicative and telltale of what's going on in your body. If it's all around the chin and the mouth, this is typically this hormonal pattern, having the higher androgens, higher levels of DHA and testosterone, and those metabolites as well too, right? So 5-HT and 5-alpha reductase, which again, you can't measure in blood work. You can only do it in the urinary work. If you get it more so up into the cheeks and all up and through this area, this is a lot of congestion. It's a lot of inflammation. So it can be gut, but also respiratory system as well too. If it's in between the brow, this is a huge area for liver congestion. So if you're chronically getting breakouts in between the eyebrows, all across the forehead, this is gut, this is digestion, this is constipation, this is, major issues that are going on in that area. And if you have it all over the face, you've got some low-grade systemic inflammation that is happening in the body. Acne on the back, or on the chest and on the back and on the glutes, okay? Now, sometimes it's from sweating, working out in the morning, staying in your workout clothes all day. I've been totally guilty of that. Not changing your bedding enough, not dry brushing or exfoliating a couple times a week and doing those things. It can be from that. But typically, acne that is on your chest, your back, and your glutes, this is androgens. So these are the higher male hormones circulating in your body, which we'll talk about because it can be related also to higher estrogen. Low progesterone is typically the common denominator in both of those situations. And so we'll go a little bit deeper into that. Okay, so first questions you need to ask yourself when trying to figure out for you or for your children where and why your acne is happening the way that it is do you have any issues going on with your gut? Do you have any digestive imbalances, gas, bloating, reflux, indigestion, any issues going on with your digestive system? Are you not pooping regularly? Do you have diarrhea? Do you have too many bowel movements? Do you have food sensitivities? Do you have a history of a lot of antibiotics, allergy shots, corticosteroid creams, topical antibiotics and creams that were given to you for your acne and for your skin? This is all going to play a role and have a huge impact on your skin because your microbiome that's living in your gut, this is responsible for creating and establishing a strong immune system and strong resiliency overall. But your skin has its own microbiome as well. And we are more species and bacteria and pathogens than we are human DNA. And so it is our job to keep this balance in check and to keep everybody and everything thriving, really healthy and strong. So you've got to ask yourself, what's going on with my gut? That is the first place of healing that we begin in, no matter what your situation is we have to work on your digestive system. For me to tell you to just start to do the oil cleansing method and to, take some zinc or some B vitamins or some magnesium, but not teach you about how to heal your digestive system is such fragmented information, and it is a really poor approach to actually healing what's going on in your body. So you need to do your due diligence. You need to take your time and understand what is happening in your system. How does your body react when you eat food? How do you feel throughout the day? How do you feel in the morning digestively when you wake up compared to how you feel in the evening? If there's an imbalance in the gut, we work on the gut first, and then what you'll start to notice, and I'm going to take you through this hierarchy. It's like if you begin to do the foundational things, I promise you your big gnarly symptom that's up in your face and space all the time will calm down by probably 50%, okay? Skin may be a little bit less depending on how severe and how long it's been going on for, but I promise you, you clear up the top junk and your body will start to calm down its red flags towards you. The next thing is looking at what are the actual products that you are using. So this isn't just your skincare products, it's your household products. What do you wash your bedding in? Like, is your house got lots of chemicals around you? Can you start to switch up to natural products, essential oils, those that are free of glyphosate and tons of genetically modified ingredients and sodium lauryl sulfate? You can go on to ewg.org, which is the environmental working group. There's an app called Think Dirty where you can actually scan the barcode on the back of a product and it'll rate it and list it for you. What is your diet? What is the food you are putting in your body? Again, going and spending all your money on the supplements and all your money on the skincare products isn't going to change jack If you still are eating a highly processed diet, no vegetables, too much sugar, lots of coffee, wine more than, to be honest with you, twice a week, because that just jacks up your estrogen and it is extremely congestive to your liver. You've got to really be accountable. Like, this is like, only you can choose what is going in your body and in the body of your children. I honestly don't believe it's good enough anymore in the environment that we live in, the way our bodies are responding, how unwell our little ones are, how unwell people as a whole are, what's happening with our skin, our gut, everything, to say, well, I eat pretty good. We only get one of these. If this shirt starts to look like crap and get stretched out and get pilly, guess what? I have a whole closet behind me with other shirts that I can take this one off and put something on that's going to make me feel better. I can't do that with my body. I can't do that with my skin. I can't just be like, oh my God, rip this one off and slap another one on that feels better. It doesn't work that way. You are gifted with one incredible, beautiful, brilliant, vital body. And it is our job and our responsibility to take care of it. So the food you put in your body, these are your tools. These are your body's resources. You can't get angry at your skin or at your body as a whole and be mad that it's treating you this way and that you're having these breakouts and that you don't feel good if you are giving it the crappiest possible tools and material and resources to use. That's not fair to your body and to yourself. So you need to be really honest with yourself. Like, are you taking care of what's going in your body? Are you eating real whole food that grows in the ground, that falls from a tree, that swam in the ocean at some point or ran across the ground? And if you're vegan or a certain type of vegetarian, then obviously some of those, types of philosophies and core roots of how you're going to eat are going to be different, but real whole food. Get rid of the packaged, processed, highly refined, full of sugar, unhealthy fats. They're adding so much inflammation to your system. And any doctor or dermatologist who says to you that foods higher in sugar and carbohydrates and refined glycemics and those types of things and unhealthy trans fats aren't impacting your skin, they don't know what they're talking about. Turn around and go somewhere else, okay? I have learned over the years, all a doctor is going to do for your skin, if you're a woman, is typically give you the birth control pill or recommend Accutane or tetracycline. And if you're going to a dermatologist, they're going to recommend something topical that has antibiotics in it. That's typically what you're going to be given. So you just, choose your own feet, turn those suckers around and walk somewhere else to get actual information that's going to keep you healthy. Next thing you want to look at is how much water you're getting in. If you're dehydrated, you're probably not pooping. You probably are drinking, but you're drinking lattes and coffees and teas and, all those types of things, juice, pop throughout the day. That is going to congest the liver. That is going to slow down your digestion. That is going to clog up your skin. It's also going to jack your insulin. More insulin that you have in your body, the more unstable your blood sugar is, your ovaries are going to produce more testosterone. And this is a big problem. So when I've got women who come into my practice with polycystic ovarian syndrome, with insulin resistance, which PCOS, it's really a metabolic condition and the ovaries are just the symptom, not the root cause. What we need to work on is balancing out that woman's blood sugar and helping her gut, and her cystic acne is going to start to calm down. Is it going to go away 100%? Not right away, but it is going to calm down a lot. The next thing is, what's your stress? Like, how stressed are you? If you just feel like you wake up and from the time your feet hit the ground until you go to bed, you are non-stop go, 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 you better believe that your body is going to feel the impact of that. That your adrenals and your thyroid and your ovaries and your reproductive system is going to feel the impact of that. You better believe that if you're under chronic stress, your poor little adrenals are just dumping excess cortisol into your bloodstream. And then your bloodstream and your pancreas are responding by increasing the amount of insulin in your bloodstream. And that is just a recipe not only for inflammation in our tissue and in our body and in our skin, but it is also a recipe for increased weight gain, right? Insulin is your fat storing hormone. That's its jam. That is its job. So if you are chronically stuck in this state of stress and you are just keeping the button turned on like adrenals, 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 cortisol, 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 which it can only do for so long, you are going to see some of these things that I'm talking about get even worse. Did the Rocky Mountain high in estrogen and cortisol and andro work in I work in medical Western meds, but came back normal, of course. So again, Rocky Mountain is looking at the blood or saliva. So you might have done like a 4-point salivary test. Doing the urinary, the Dutch, so different. Like it's a 14-page report of findings that comes back with the Dutch hormone test. There's not another test out there right now that touches that one. Okay, so let's keep going. So I talked about like pollution. So even like in your house, how many of you still have like plugins, like the Glade plugins? You're using Febreze. You've got dryer sheets in your clothes. You're spraying your linens with stuff. Like every time I see a Febreze commercial, I'm like, no, people, like look away, close your eyes. All of these things are adding to not just clogging our pores in our skin, but they are hormone disruptors. So they are going to impact how well your hormones are working and supporting all of your health, including your skin. And then what is actually going on from that hormonal perspective? When was the last time you had a full workup of your blood work done? Looked at the whole hormone panel, looked at the full thyroid panel, not just your TSH. TSH, free T4, free T3. Are you actually converting into the usable form of the thyroid hormone? Maybe your antibodies need to be tested. What's going on with your iron, and not just your hemoglobin, but your ferritin, your total iron binding capacity, like full look, B12, vitamin D. What is happening in the actual ovaries themselves? Are you progesterone deficient and estrogen dominant? If that's an issue that's going on, that excess estrogen is going to feed some of that bacteria and further that imbalance. If you have a higher level of male hormones, your adrenals are pumping out too much DHEA, your testosterone levels are too high, and you have too little progesterone and too little estrogen, that is going to wreak havoc on your system and definitely show up in your skin as well too. So these are all the things you want to start to ask yourself. Do you have issues with your period? If you have period issues, you are almost always going to have skin issues. So for most people, it's going to show up as, I have issues with my period. So whether it's heavy bleeding, irregular cycles, long cycles, painful cycles, clotting, hormonal headaches that happen, hair loss that's happening, extreme breast tenderness, really elevated PMS. Maybe it's going to be acne, maybe it's going to be eczema, maybe it's going to be psoriasis, maybe it's going to be rosacea. The inflammatory process that's happening in your reproductive system, in your menses, is going to show up in your skin somewhere. I can guarantee it. Guarantee it. And the other thing you might notice, for those of you that get the acne on your glutes and on your chest and on your back, is that you might also notice that you have hair growth on the chin as well. So you're breaking out and you're growing a beard. Amazing. And then you might notice that you're getting some stray hairs on your chest or around your nipples. The space between your belly button and your pubic bone, there's like a long line of hair that's there. The area of the pubic hair is growing out of the pubic region and down your inner thighs. Like, these are things where you might even be sitting in your chair and be like, oh my God, like, is she actually talking about that? Yeah, I'm talking about it, because this conversation has to expand and open up. We need to know that these things, Sam, I'm going to talk about how you get a Dutch test towards the end, that these things actually do happen. We have to stop being so like, oh, this is like taboo. And especially with our girls. Like, my daughter doesn't want to hear half the stuff I am teaching her, but you can bet your butt that I am going to continue to talk about it and to put it out there, and hope that, she finds it on Facebook if she doesn't want to hear me in person, or that, just that her and her girlfriends are starting to have different conversations and normalize this topic. Because what happens is, as women, we suffer in silence. We don't talk about the struggles that we're feeling. We don't talk about what's going on in our body. And we just think it's a rite of passage as being a woman. I have hormonal acne. Well, I'm an adult. Well, I'm perimenopausal, so my hormones are out of balance. Of course my skin's going to do this. That's just normal. No, it's not. No, it's not. It might be common, but that doesn't mean it's normal. Big difference. Common does not equate to normal. You need to understand that for yourself. How long does it typically take to fix estrogen dominance? All depends on the individual and the body and how long it's been going on. And honestly, Alexa, how committed you are to the process. So what I mean by that is, you can't just take like a liver tincture and some DIM or, I3C and things that help to move excess estrogen out of the body. If you're still going to drink a coffee every day, have a glass of wine every night, or 4 drinks on the weekend, not stimulate your lymph system, not change your products, you might get some progress, but not as much as if you're just like, I'm all in. And I would say if you can give 3 to 6 months, 3 to 6 durations of a cycle in your body of being all in, like playing full out, right? Like, think about this. We hear that, we're like, oh my God, 3 to 6 months. When you have a child, like, you're committed to them for life, and you do everything possible to taking care of them and making sure they're healthy and all of those things. And you're never like, oh God, like, why can't this just happen now? We understand that with a young body, it takes so much time for them to get to that place in space. In our bodies, it's going to take time because it has taken so much time to get where we are. In order for your body to produce a symptom, right now we're talking about acne. So in order for that acne to actually be there, this was a slow build of things that were breaking down and happening behind the scenes. This was estrogen that was building for a long period of time before it started to show up in the skin. Maybe that estrogen dominance in your body was coming in the way of cysts and fibroids and these heavy periods and that. It's going to take a minimum of 3 to 6 months to start to feel and see that shift. In the beginning, what you would notice is it'd probably be in your period. You'd notice it first before your skin. Not quite as heavy, not quite as painful, not quite as long, not quite as bad. Then maybe the next month you would notice you didn't get quite as bad of a breakout around ovulation and leading into your cycle. Then the next month, so it just like every time that you can stay committed to it, the next month you're going to reap those benefits. But typically I say it's at least 3 to 6 months you need to give yourself before you just like give up and say it's not working. It's going to take some time. The next thing is, so we talked about that, about location, about where it is. So a big thing in working with people is actually looking at this balance of this estrogen and progesterone. So I have a lot of women who come to me who, after they've had children, they have acne. They were on the birth control pill for a period of time. Now all of a sudden they have acne. They're going through menopause. Now all of a sudden they have acne. These are all these common things where coming off the pill, that's a massive hormonal swing in your body. You, for all the years you were on the birth control pill, your pituitary gland, which is what is responsible for your ovulation, was totally shut down. When you're on the pill, you do not ovulate, which means your ovaries weren't releasing eggs for the entire time that you were on the pill. Your FSH, your LH, all of those hormones were being suppressed the entire time you're on the pill. Like for the 7 years I was on the pill, 100% suppressed. So when your body comes off the pill, that's a lot of undoing. That's a lot of like rewiring, and the body at first being like, and usually what you'll see is about 4 to 6 months after being off the pill is when the acne is going to start to come to the surface. Because again, that 3 to 6 month window is when how long it takes for the body to start to release and let some of it go. Coming off of those types of things, so whether it's a hormonal contraceptive, whether it is, unhealthy skincare products, those types of things, your body will get that initial kind of like breath of relief, but then you're going to have to start to go deeper. So, with estrogen dominance, again, it starts within the gut. It's establishing that main foundation. Then it's starting to look at things like adding in some DIM or some sulforaphane, getting in foods that are richer in that brassica family that are helping to actually bind to the chemical forms of estrogen and get it out. But you've got to make sure you're pooping. If we try to detox the chemical forms of estrogen in a body that is not pooping on a daily basis, we are going to back you up and we are going to retox your system. So side effects to a copper IUD. So copper IUD does not produce hormones. The Mirena IUD does. The copper IUD, what it does to prevent pregnancy is it actually creates a thickening of a mucus around the opening of the cervix, so that when there is sperm that has been ejaculated there, that the sperm can't penetrate the mucus, and it changes the homeostasis, the acidity, pH, and environment to prevent that sperm from penetrating. It is a foreign object in the body. The copper IUD can have an impact on the thyroid for sure, because it can interfere with iodine uptake and also a lot of your trace minerals that are helping your thyroid function well, zinc, selenium, those types of things. So I'm actually doing a thyroid adrenal Facebook Live on Thursday afternoon and at Whole Family Health Food in Keswick on October 9th. So that would be something to come out for that. Okay, so let's go into your steps here. So I have got 6 different steps that I want you to think about coming away from tonight, okay? So step number one, this is the must. Like, please don't do anything else until you've parked your butt down and you say to yourself, I'm going to commit to doing this. Okay. And the step one is the hardest one. So if you can get through the hardest one, you are going to be cruising towards healthier, clearer skin. I promise you that. Step one is you got to clean the crap out. You got to clean out the junk that you're feeding your body. You got to clean out the junk you are putting onto your body. So this is an in and an on. So if all your skincare products are from the major, department stores, if they're from MAC, if they're from, Aveeno, if they're from Oil of Olay, from Maybelline, from all these different companies, they are all working against what your body is trying to do in terms of your health. So you want to be buying, and in my chapter 10 of my book, The Simplicity Project, I list tons of different companies, and you want to shop at good stores. So where's your natural organic health food store? Go there to get your makeup. Yes, I know places like Sephora have smaller lines now where it's like mineral based and there's not the chemicals in there. Just really know what it is that you are looking for. Nothing with parabens, nothing, with any sodium lauryl sulfate, nothing with any EDTA, looking at different elements that are in there. If you see a hashtag with a number, there should be no hashtags in the ingredients of the food going in your body and the products going on your skin. So like my daughter is obsessed with wanting to have Lush products because her friends have them. And I'm like, oh my God, because Lush is full of shit. Okay. Tons of artificial coloring. It's just crap. It is just marketed to a generation. Bath and Body Works, all of those different companies, the products that Victoria's Secret sell, no good. So you need to do a clean out. You need to clear out those products. Majority of that stuff we have is just collecting dust. We're not using it. You need to change up. So everything from your shampoo to your conditioner, what you're washing your body with, the products that you're using. If it feels overwhelming in the beginning, just know, like, these are perishable products. You're going to run out of shampoo and you're going to have to go buy new shampoo. So you're going to buy from a better company and better quality. Okay. Whole Family Health Food in Keswick carries the Simplicity Project, Lara. And the Simplicity Kitchen as well too. So you need to get rid of that. Now you got to look at your food. Okay. So you need to get rid of the most inflammatory foods. So we know obviously things like processed, junky, takeout foods, that is a big no-no for the health of our skin and just your body as a whole. But also looking at if you have acne and you're consuming dairy, if you have any skin irritation, you have to get the dairy out. You've got to get out even your Greek yogurt. People ask, is Greek yogurt dairy? Yes. You've got to get the yogurt out, the cheese, the milk, all of those dairy products. If you're using a whey-based protein powder, you need to ditch that out for at least a period of time so we can pull off the fog and the film on your body and on your skin that is creating so much more congestion that you're seeing come out. We need to take a look as well too at how much water are you getting into your system. Get the gluten out. My Lord, for anybody who has eczema and psoriasis, rosacea, if you have this cystic acne, gluten, dairy, sugar are going to be your biggest culprits. Oftentimes with eczema and psoriasis, eggs might be in there as well too, but the gluten and the dairy and the sugar, those three, they're literally injuring our gut as we consume them. And if our gut is impaired and injured, everything else is going to be. So those are three of the big ones. You also want to be careful of how much alcohol and caffeine you are bringing into your body. So I know this is how, I work with all women. Okay. So women come into my practice. They're like, I get up in the morning with coffee and I calm myself down with wine. And if you tell me I have to get rid of either of those things, I may not want to be your friend anymore. I'm like, okay. So we're going to tread carefully here. But the reality is both coffee and alcohol are estrogenic. So there are lots of studies that will say that coffee is healthy for the liver. And that is true. It can be. However, if I'm already working with somebody whose body has a lot of other inflammatory issues going on, they are exhausted all the time, their adrenals, there is a dysregulation in that whole endocrine system and they are struggling there, I don't care what type of grass-fed butter and MCT oil and collagen you are putting in your coffee. We can add all those things into a different base, but not the coffee for now. I'm not saying you can never have it back. I'm just talking about like short term for right now, just so we can calm some things down. It's also very stimulating this is again, from an Ayurvedic and a Chinese medicine perspective, the coffee and the alcohol, sugar, those things, way too stimulating for the body. So alcohol increases your estrogen. So if we're dealing with estrogen dominant conditions, you have heavy painful periods, you get hormonal migraines, you have low progesterone and you know that, you have, clotting, you have breast tenderness, exacerbated PMS, insane cravings coming into your period, having too much alcohol is going to increase your estrogen, and it more than doubles your risk of breast cancer. So this is one of those things where, like, I love to have a glass of red wine, but when I have it, I don't feel good the next day. I know it's my body communicating with me. And when you get a flush, people say, oh, it's the tannins, it's the sulfites. Typically, if you have a flush when you have alcohol and your face gets hot and you feel that, oftentimes, like, that is your body's way intuitively and your liver saying, like, I don't agree with this. I have a sensitivity to it. So you really need to listen. Cow dairy is what you should be avoiding the most. If you're going to have any dairy, small amounts of goat or sheep would be okay. Is the alkaline coffee less estrogen? I don't know that. I don't know that, to be honest with you. I'm going to say possibly not, because the alkaline coffee it's just less acidic. That's what's making it more alkalizing. But that is something that I could look into. I don't have an honest answer for you right now. Okay, so that is what we work on first, because we know if the diet itself is not taken care of, your ovaries are going to be producing excess testosterone. Excess testosterone is going to be impacting the level of insulin in your body, and both increased insulin and increased testosterone is going to enlarge those sebaceous glands and increase your oil production and the bacteria that is contributing to your acne, especially if it is cystic hormonal acne. Okay, so really important to understand that. So we want to work on that baseline first. We have got to decrease the bad estrogen in your body, and we need to eat foods that are high in fiber, that are cruciferous, so lots of veggies. We don't get enough vegetables in on a daily basis. Like, it just doesn't happen. I do this for a living. I know this information, and there are still days where I'm like, oh my gosh, I did not get enough vegetables in. That for me is why I take Juice Plus, because it helps me bridge that gap. And I've been taking it for 12 years, and I feel so good about getting it into my system, but you need to. So if you're having a smoothie, it can't be all fruit. You've got to be throwing the greens in there and change it up. Like, if the only green you consume is spinach in your smoothie, it's not enough. You need to be adding in, like, getting in the kale, getting in the collards, adding in a greens powder into it, and then having more vegetables throughout the day. And it doesn't always have to be a raw salad. Roast them, grill them, put them in a soup or in a stew. You've got to be getting those vegetables in, ladies. They are so important for not just increasing your fiber, but binding to the chemical estrogen and getting it out of the body. Your body is dependent upon that phase 2 detox. And if your diet is devoid of all the nutrients, the vitamins and the minerals and the antioxidants that you need, you cannot complete phase 2 detox, and all that chemical estrogen stays in your body, circulates, and absolutely wreaks havoc, okay? And I'll be doing a whole estrogen dominant topic on this, because estrogen dominance is the leading cause of estrogen dominant reproductive cancers in the breast, in the ovaries, in the cervix. This is a huge, huge issue and topic. And we know this. The first drug that women with estrogen dominant positive cancer is given after their treatment is tamoxifen. It's an estrogen blocker. Why are we waiting until women are already in an estrogen dominant cancer situation and then giving them something when we could proactively teach you what you need to eat and not eat in order to help your body naturally detox and eradicate these estrogens out of your body? I hope you're with me on this, okay? So we need to make sure that we're decreasing the bad estrogen, increasing your fiber, healthy fats, lean sources of protein, but please don't over protein your body. Like, everything, we just get stuck in these traps of, like, I'm going to be paleo, I'm going to be keto, and all I'm going to eat is like meat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and all of this and that. And again, there can be healthy approaches to those. And I'm not saying that, like, eating grass-fed organic meats isn't positive for your body, but if we already have an overburdened gut, if we already have a clogged butt, like if you're already constipated, the liver's already struggling, and we don't do the groundwork first and take the burden off, and we just start to give it more load to digest and filter and detox and break down, we're doing a massive disservice to ourselves. Yes, infrared sauna to help with estrogen dominance, and just whole body health and endocrine system as a whole would be amazing. So Alexa, if you have access to an infrared sauna, utilize it. The next thing I would say too is you want to make sure you have the fundamentals of supplements in place. You simply cannot go without supplements in the day and age that we live in now, with the soil that's devoid, with the anti-nutrients that are coming at us all the time. So I have a foundational 5 that I've been teaching about for years, that I write about. Probiotics. Now, those of you who have SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, then a probiotic might make things a bit worse. And so you would know this within the first couple of weeks taking that probiotic that you have horrible gas and bloating. And so you might need a different approach. And that would be something where, honestly, like that would be a consultation. I can't just guide you on that over a Facebook Live. So probiotic, omega-3s, magnesium is really essential. For us, we take a whole food complex juice plus every day as a family. You could do that, or you could do a greens powder and vitamin D. So those are the foundational 5. And then for women, a full spectrum methylated B. So a B complex where you're getting all of the Bs that work as synergy together, and making sure your B12 is methylated, because that methylation is so important for that phase 2 detoxification. And then also some liver support. So depending on who I am working with and what is actually going on, I would oftentimes have women use a product that would contain DIM, calcium D-glucarate, indole 3-carbinol. So Lorna Vanderhaeg has some great products. EstroSmart, there's another company, EstroSense. But what I have been doing more recently is I've actually just been getting women to work on the liver first. Now, if you're seeing a traditional Chinese medicine doctor, he's going to create, like, my liver tonic for me when I was going through that deep healing was specific to me. And it had different herbs and different strengths from my constitution and my body. This one is very gentle. It is from St. Francis. It's called Liver Hepato DR. I post on Instagram and talk about it a lot. I love it because it is a combination supporting the liver, but it's so gentle that I don't have to know you to feel okay with telling you that this is something that you could take morning and night to help to start to support your liver on that level. There's also liver supportive foods if you go into my Instagram post that I have been writing about. So those would be some of the fundamentals. Now, when I'm working with women privately, when I'm working with them through a consultation, or those who come into the Hormone Project, it's at the base, and then they have a very specific protocol. Women who come for consults, like when you're at that stage and you're just like, I'm done, like I need to do this, or women who come into the Hormone Project, it's a very specific woman. She is an action taker and she's ready. We've established a baseline. That's what the private consults are for, is to do this timeline history, know where your body is coming from and what has really been going on, and where do I need to focus the energy of this course and program for your body. We work on the gut healing protocol. So it's a leaky gut healing protocol. It's a liver cleansing and supportive protocol. Some people do the liver part for 2 weeks. Some I have on for 6 weeks. It depends what is going on. It's an adrenal and a thyroid healing protocol. When you as a woman can work on the basis of your gut, your liver, your adrenal, and your thyroid, holy moly, does your health just elevate to a whole new level, because that is where it is at for us. That is truly what we should all be taught about, how to take care of ourselves, is our gut, our liver, our adrenals, and our thyroid. Okay? And the second thing that I would say is to seed cycle. So if you aren't currently seed cycling and you don't even know what the heck I'm talking about, on my website, jenpike.com, I have a free cycle syncing workbook and guide that takes you through this step by step that you can go and download for free. It's really important because if you have irregular menstrual cycles, if you don't get a cycle, if you have no idea when it's coming or going, we need to start to create an internal rhythm. And sometimes we need to create that rhythm in a falsified way, meaning we use food, using seeds at certain times of the month, and maybe we follow the lunar cycle. So right now I have women on a whole bunch of different protocols because it's full moon to support their body. I talk about this in the guide. So we have to train and teach our bodies at this point now in this time in history to actually be healthy. Our body has the innate ability and the deep knowing, but we are so junked up and so confused by what we've been taught, we've lost our way. So I'm trying to give you tools to remind you and teach you how to find your way back to the health that your body possesses and can actually create for you. The next thing is to actually look at the imbalances. So I don't recommend, you know, having, if you come to me and you tell me all the stuff that you're eating and the things that you're doing, and I'm like, whoa, okay, I already know if you're eating unhealthy that I need to actually get that working first before I have you go spend the money on doing different testing. So I'm going to say to you, I want to spend the next little bit cleaning up your gut first, getting rid of some of the inflammatory triggers, because then I can actually see the real deal. Then I know what's going on. Then when we do your testing, I have a better idea and picture. And depending on what we're looking at, hormonally, I'm going to have you test things at different times. If you just go into your doctor and say, I want my hormones tested, and they don't ask you where you're at in your cycle and they just do blood work for you, that's horrible. If you're testing for estrogen, so estradiol, which your ovaries produce, it's got to be day 2 or 3 when you bleed. And FSH, okay? If we're looking at LH, the luteinizing hormones, and progesterone, somewhere in like day 18 to 22, or if you have a longer cycle, we back it up a little bit more to get a correct picture. If you just go in on any day of the month to get your blood work done, and then you get these levels back for your estrogen and progesterone, that's not accurate. We need to be testing them when they're supposed to be at their peaks. And real full like hormonal blood work would be at 2 points a month. Because I do the Dutch testing with women and I order it for them and we do that, I cross-reference and look at that almost more so than I look at the blood work, because half the time the blood work isn't even done the way we need it to be or done properly. But that's when we would do the testing, is that's when we actually look at, and then do some other things to see, okay, is there imbalances happening in your HPA axis, which is really when people say they have adrenal fatigue. That's what's going on. There's a miscommunication in the glands in the brain, firing and communicating downstream to your adrenals and your thyroid. So if there's issues in your thyroid, there was issues in your adrenals for many, many years beforehand. And if there's issues there, there was issues in the gut for many, many years beforehand. So again, I'm all about root cause. I want to go upstream to see what is happening and why we're having these big signs and symptoms happening in our body. And with our skin, you have to address all this. If you want to have real success in healing your skin, you can't skip a step, or you're only going to get so far. So looking at that, number 4 is slowing down and sleep. So these are the things we look at and we're like, that's just not sexy to tell me to get more sleep and to slow down. And you don't know my life, Jen, and you don't understand the stress I have. I do. I have 2 businesses. My husband has a business. We have 2 children. We own a home. This is the thing, is we all think that we live on an island of it just happens to me. It's not true. We actually are all in this together. We all have different stories. We all have different types of triggers and stressors. But like I said in the beginning, you don't know someone else's story and what it is that is going on. So don't make yourself feel like you're the special one that only has this stuff happening. And nobody else. It is all of us. And we all need to figure out a way to slow down in our life, to say no more often, to do less, to master the art of being bored, to teach this to our children. Our children shouldn't be micromanaged and scheduled out the wazoo. You know, they need to learn how to be still and to have an imagination. And we need to be reminded how to do that too. We're so addicted to this damn thing. And for those of you who are like, girl, you're on there all the time. I have a team. I delegate. I am not the one posting all the time. When you see real raw posts like I did this morning with a picture of my skin, that is me. When it's just like a sharing of information, I write posts months in advance, send it to the team. Team helps as well too when we put it out. I used to do all of it, and that was where my skin was really bad, is I did everything on my own. I never delegated, and I didn't realize how much that was contributing to my hormonal acne, because it was just wearing and tearing me down. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And please share this information. This is a Facebook Live. It records automatically. So give it about a half an hour. It'll be up, and hit share. Hit share. Please don't hold this information to yourself. And I'm not the guru of all this. I do not know everything. I am still learning just as you are learning. But every time I learn something, I want to share it. I want you to get better. I want to help you. I'm so tired of seeing women suffer. It is exhausting. And it makes me sad, but it also makes me equally inspired. Okay, so slowing down and sleep. Ladies, I can't give you sleep in a bottle. You might think that melatonin and L-theanine and 5-HTP and these different things that we often talk about as nutritionists is your sleep in a bottle. They will help you, but they are there to support. They're like micromanaging our way to teaching you how to get better rest overall. So, a big part again, like in the hormone project, is I take you through like an entire like sleep regime, a sleep routine. Everyone's like, what's your face routine? I'm like, let's talk about your sleep routine. Because if you get more sleep, your skin is going to look better. You only heal, your cells only repair when you are sleeping. So if you have really bad acne, really bad scarring, really bad issues going on, and you are still staying up really late at night, you're not getting the sleep, you're stuck on your devices, you're burning the candle at both ends, you're going to wake up with your skin actually looking more flared. If you can take some magnesium before bed, drink a little bit of water, have a herbal tea, calm yourself down, read a book that's made out of paper instead of one that's on an electronic, connect with your family, hug your spouse, have personal touch, be intimate, do those things, go to bed and have a good sleep, you're going to wake up and you will notice your skin is a little bit calmer. Okay, it will happen. It might not happen like literally one night overnight, but I promise you it will happen. And then the next thing that you want to be doing, number 5, is your skincare regime. So I'm going to share with you a regime that I use and that I've been using with the women who come into my programs. Now, with the women that come into my programs, I do make it a little bit more specific because nobody has the exact same skin, so your regime is not going to be exactly the same. But I'll give you kind of the scenario of what it is. So I'll give you nighttime and then I'll give you morning. So nighttime is the only time I actually cleanse my skin now. So I used to use I had this idea that if I was using something foaming or if I was like aggressively exfoliating, that it was going to like scrub and suds and, scrub away the acne. And it just actually made it worse. And anything you're using that's foaming and getting all bubbly, loaded with chemical detergents and drying your skin out, products that are labeled oil-free, drying your skin out, and your body will try to help you. Your sebaceous glands will try to produce more oil to compensate for the lack of oil and the dehydration and the tightness that your skin is feeling. So I use the oil cleansing method. I have free videos on my YouTube channel, Simplicity TV, or you can just look up Jen Pike on YouTube with the oil cleansing method of making your own. There's also great companies like Living Libations that you can buy it from, Skin Essence, Cocoon Apothecary is a great company, Anne Marie Skincare Products, Beauty Counter has some really good products as well too. There's a lot of great stuff that's out there. So at night I do my oil cleansing method and I do a little steam with it. And I take you through this whole thing in my video. Then I tone, and then I do treatment. So I have a topical treatment from my Chinese medicine doctor, as well as one, sometimes I use different essential oils, frankincense, helichrysum. I don't do a ton of tea tree. For me, it didn't work. It really dried my skin out. It made things a bit worse. And sometimes I'll use a little bit of salicylic acid. So the reason the salicylic acid can be very beneficial for the acne is it helps to combat any of the excess skin and dead skin that can start to combine with the oil that your sebaceous glands are producing and the actual bacteria that's sitting on the skin. And it's that combination of those three together that create those deep under skin cystic type acne situations that come out. And so I have found that using a little bit of salicylic acid, just a tiny little touch of it at night, and there's lots of different products out there that carry that or that have that ingredient in it, has made a very big difference for me. And then I do a serum. So I use a drop of the same thing I cleanse my skin with to actually do a little nighttime serum with. Now I use a ton of different carrier oils. I share this in the video too. So I love, I love organic coconut oil. I love jojoba oil, rose hip, argan, sea buckthorn oil, carrot seed oil, sesame oil, almond oil. There's lots of different ones. You just want to make sure you're getting good quality and choosing a company that has really good integrity. And then I use a lot of different essential oils. doTERRA is a company that I use. I've tried different ones. I keep coming back to doTERRA. Just use whatever kind of clicks and resonates with you, but just make sure again that the quality is really superior, because this is an organ. This is your largest organ in your body, is your skin, and it is eating up everything that you are exposing it to. And this is the same for your children. We have to stop saying, oh, they're just kids. They're just tiny humans. We're all humans. We're just bigger and they're smaller. But everything we're doing for us, we need to be taking care of their little systems the same way. So all these companies like Johnson & Johnson and Aveeno and all these baby care products, if you read the ingredients, Oh my Lord. They are setting our kids up for estrogen dominance in such a horrible way, and their little livers being, toxic, and the amount of things that are going to exacerbate their eczema and dry skin. Start to bathe your babies in oil, and not baby oil. Coconut oil, sea buckthorn oil, all the same oils I'm talking about for you. Please start to put that on their little skin, okay? Even opening up when they have a rash. My bottle's downstairs. So I alternate between fish oil and plant-based. Right now I'm on plant-based and I'm loving them. They're omega-3. But they have evening primrose oil in them, carrot seed oil, raspberry seed oil that's in there, pomegranate, and they're the Juice Plus ones. They're new ones, and I love them because I actually use a sterilized safety pin. I puncture them, and if anybody has like a little bump, a little rash, if Sam is like a rough and tumble boy and has a cut, I open this capsule and I put it in there, and honest to God, the healing that happens overnight on their skin is unflipping believable. If I have a really bad pimple that like crops up, because they do still happen sometimes, I will actually apply some of that there. I work out all the time and sweating, and so I can get dry in my hairline around here before I go to bed. I will actually, if I'm really dry, I will put some of that omega oil on my scalp there, and by the time I wake up in the morning, it is like unbelievable the difference. So little things like that. Now, in the morning, here's what I do. So I don't wash my face in the morning. In the morning I get up, I use my toner. So I use a toner from doTERRA. Sometimes I also use one from Living Libations, a frankincense one. Beautiful products and ingredients. And I do the toner. If I have any breakouts, I'll do that little bit of treatment. And then I use a mineral-based sunscreen on my face that is a matte finish by a company called Cool A. So like cool, A, like Coola. And I love it, and it's mineral based and it's wonderful. And because I'm more acne prone, I can tend to have shinier skin. And so it has a matte finish, but it doesn't clog your pores. And I love Makeup by RMS is my favorite brand. They're mineral based, and everything is just like, it's made from silica, which is like a main mineral in your body that your bones and your tissue is made up of. So really important that the things we're putting on our body, on our skin, and using are mirroring what our own body knows how to work with and utilize, in my opinion. And that's what I would do. I do a mask maybe 1 or 2 times a week. I go for a really good quality facial once every 2 months. And I get that done. And then the last thing I would say is, if you feel like, okay, these are all really great tips, but I still kind of feel lost, work with someone. Like, how frustrating, like I think about it and I'm like, oh my God, for 8 years, I tried to do this by myself because I kept saying to myself, you do this for a living, Jen, you're a holistic nutritionist. And I went to my naturopath, I went to my homeopath, I tried and did some different things, and I needed to have a different set of eyes over top of it. I needed to have fresh perspective. And so for me, that fresh perspective was doing the Chinese medicine. And then creating this protocol that I've been using now for 2 years that has just, like, without a word of a lie, literally changed my life. Like, if you were to ask my friends, my family, my husband, it's a totally different thing for me. Like, Chris, my husband, would be able to tell you this the most. Like, it is, when you are with somebody who is suffering from something, like I said, for me, it was acne. It could be acne, could be weight, it could be whatever it is that's going on. Like, it impacts how you show up in the world. It impacts your relationships, because if your self-esteem and your self-confidence is like this, that is going to be in all facets of your life. And so now this protocol is what I utilize and what I teach in the Hormone Project. So that's what I would say to you is, if you're lost and you're stuck, reach out to a practitioner. If you're already working with an ND or a holistic nutritionist or somebody or a functional medicine practitioner, maybe ask them to look at it from a different angle. Maybe go a little bit deeper. If you aren't working with anybody, maybe this is the time that you do that. Maybe you book a consultation. Maybe you take a deeper look into what the Hormone Project is. If you were sitting here tonight and you're like, every single thing that you talked about struck a chord with me and resonated, you owe it to yourself to go to my website and look up the Hormone Project and actually see what it's all about. You owe yourself the investment of your time and your learning and understanding. And I'm not interested in just giving somebody a protocol and then saying, okay, go and do this. If you don't understand why you are doing what you are doing, you will not get results. Bottom line. It's like, how many meal plans have you been given in your life, and did they work? It's not that the meal plan didn't work. It's that you didn't understand why you were being told or guided to eat this, that, and the other. And so because you didn't know and nobody was empowering you with the education behind it, you actually didn't step into that role and take it on the same way that you could have. If you have somebody that is explaining the data that your body is communicating through your blood work, through your signs and symptoms, through your health history, through your Dutch test, through whatever it is, and like when I'm doing sessions with people, it's like how we are right now. It's on Zoom, I pull it up, it's on video, I actually pull all your data up and walk you through so you understand. And when I say, okay, see this level, how this is at this level and we actually want it here, this is what this could mean that is happening in your body. I don't diagnose or do any of those things. I just explain to you, this is what you kind of need to have like your radar up for, and this is what you need to be looking at in your lifestyle. And then it's recorded and then I send it to you, because it's like tonight, you're going to hear this once, you're going to get off and go to bed, you're going to wake up tomorrow and be like, oh my God, what is it that she said? Well, it's recorded, so you can go back and listen to it. It's the same thing I do in sessions with client, is record it. So you have it forever, because we always need to be reminded of why. Why am I doing this? And I promise you, when you understand the why behind the what of what's going on in your body, your journey and healing protocol to start to help whatever it is that is causing you problems, if acne is your big one, it will happen with that much more ease and grace and efficiency, because you understand what's going on and why you're doing this. Okay, there's nothing worse than like leaving someone's office or just having a whole bunch of supplements and waking up and being like, why am I taking all these things? Right? Maybe I'm the only person who feels that way, but I want to understand why. I don't want someone to tell me, I want someone to teach me. And there is a big ass difference between those things. Okay, so questions. I'll stay on for like another 10 minutes. We've already been an hour and 20 minutes. Holy moly. If you have questions, though, I will stay on for another 10 minutes to answer your questions for you. I need water and throat spray. I'm trying to move this feed down. Yes, magnesium does help us sleep tremendously. Dutch test info. So I do the Dutch test with clients. Anybody can order the Dutch test, but the lab will not do the interpretation for you. So you could go on to Precision Analytics, you could go on to DutchTest.com and you could order a Dutch test, but you are going to have to work with a practitioner to actually break down the 14 pages of results. So this is going to tell you about your adrenal health. This is going to tell you about all of your hormonal health, and it helps you to start to be able to actually lay over top of some of the other signs and symptoms and perhaps your blood work as to what's been going on. So for me, how it works, so here's what it is. If you just go online and order the test, you're going to pay $399 USD. They're going to mail you the kit. This is actually what it looks like. Okay, so it comes like this. Comes like this. And it's going to explain to you how you actually do the test, and you're going to get 5 of these strips. Okay. And you pee on this strip. So as you're sitting down to pee, you slide the strip under you, you catch your pee on the strip, then you are going to lay this out in the bathtub. Now, before you've done this, you're going to date it all so you know what time you're taking this, because we measure your pee 4, maybe 5 times. If you're somebody who pees in the middle of the night, we have to measure your pee in the middle of the night. This is why already this test is so much better than blood work, because blood work is at one point in the day. This is going to tell us 4 to 5 times throughout the day, give us massive data for your hormones. And then you're going to mail it back. It's going to take about 7 to 10 business days for them to send you results. Then you need to work with a practitioner to actually understand what the heck all your results say. So you can book a consultation. I have some people who go and get the Dutch test. All they want to do is the consultation with me about the Dutch. I interpret their results for them. I explain what's going on. I don't diagnose. I just explain what's going on. And then we move along. When you come into the Hormone Project, you get a code from me, because I'm a provider of the test, and you save. And so you pay $299. You save $100 off the test, and then your interpretation from me is included in when you're doing the Hormone Project, because everybody who does the Hormone Project gets 2 private consultations with me, and I do your full interpretation and record your Dutch results, blood work, whatever it is that you have done, and send that to you. So that's how you get that done. Oh, I'm really happy. I do not diagnose in anything I do. So when you come into the Hormone Project, Alexa, what I will do is I will say to you, I feel like this is most likely what is happening, but I'm not like giving you on a script on a pad saying this is what's going on, stamping it. And I can't even legally do that. I'm not a physician. That's important clarifying. So if you are working with a holistic practitioner who is not a physician and they are diagnosing you, that is out of our complete jurisdiction legally of what we are allowed to do. So I am simply going to bring your attention. And if it's out of my scope of practice, I help you build an entire network and tribe of people to help to get you the connections you need. So the women who come into my hormone project, when they finish the hormone project, some do it again, some stay on with me as private clients. I oftentimes then refer them out. This time around, the first time ever, we actually have an in-house naturopathic doctor that has joined our team, which we haven't fully announced to the public yet. And she does Chinese medicine and acupuncture and all of that. And I'm so excited. And this is something that like virtually we're bringing to people so that your geography does not interfere with your health. I don't do in-person consultations because of that. I did it for the first 15 years of practice, and for the last 3, I've done it all online, and I've gotten 10 times the results, mainly because we can record it and you can hear it again and again. You're welcome, Jeanette. Thank you for listening. Chinese medicine. So it all depends on where you live. My Chinese medicine doctor, Dr. Yan Yi, is in Richmond Hill, which technically he's like Aurora because he's just on the other side of Bloomington. Dr. Yan Yi. But here's what I would do first. Utilize social media. I would put out there on Facebook, does anybody know of a fantastic traditional Chinese medicine doctor? In search of ISO, and see the feedback that you get. You won't know if they're going to be amazing for you until you go for your first session. And it's like an interview. It's like anything, okay? It's like a date. You are going to interview that practitioner. It's like people working with me. I want to make sure we resonate and we click. I don't want to work with somebody if I'm not the fit for them or they're not the fit with me and they don't want to work with me. Some people, they don't want the no BS approach. They don't want to know everything. They want a different approach. They don't want to actually understand why. They just want to be told what to do. Then I'm not your practitioner. I want to work with women who are action takers and who actually want to learn. I want to work with you and help you know for the rest of your life, not just for the time that we are working together. And what is it that you're looking for? So traditional Chinese medicine doctor, somebody's doing acupuncture, cooking herbs, tonics, like moxa, cupping, there's all different things they do. For me, the acupuncture is what worked the best. But my husband, he had different stuff that he was doing. And my son Sam, when he was sick and used to get chest stuff, was doing cupping. So it's different for everyone, but those are kind of the clarifying things. How do you recommend taking magnesium? So it depends. My 2 best forms are magnesium bisglycinate and citrate. So bisglycinate, CanPrev is my preferred company. I love them. And so I take it in a capsule form. I would start with 400 milligrams and take it before bed. And then just like give your body a few weeks and see how that amount feels. I can't talk to you about therapeutic dosing, which for me is beyond 400 milligrams without actually knowing you and doing a consultation. So I would say start at 400 milligrams. If you're doing the COMS, which is the citrate, you're going to follow the instructions on the bottle and you're just going to like put it into your water and you would just drink that. Do you know anywhere to get the MTHFR test? Do you recommend it? I do, depending on what's going on. So what's really interesting, and thank you so much for asking this question, is that in the Dutch testing, you're actually able to see if there's methylation issues. So if there is an issue and your body is pushing your estrogen pathway down the 4-OH and the quinone reductase pathway, and you've got low methylation, this is an indication that maybe we want to dig a bit deeper and do the MTHFR test. Some family doctors are doing it now. Blood labs are doing it now as well too. So I would start there. And then if not, then reach out to a local naturopath that is nearby to be able to get that done. Does wearing antiperspirant clog the lymphatic system affect hormones and acne? 100%. Yes, it does. Natural deodorant all the way. It's a learning curve for your pits. You're going to smell a little bit different. You have to remember that all the years of using chemical deodorant and antiperspirant, you were shoving all of the toxicity back into your body and suppressing it. Pheromones are going to change when you use natural deodorant. You might not smell so good for the beginning, and you're probably going to have to change your natural deodorant every couple of months. Just had my Dutch test, having so much success since. Logged in late, looking forward to watching the replay. Awesome, Kelly. Is it beneficial to take the St. Francis liver detox tincture before coming off birth control, or do you recommend it after? Both. So if you're on the birth control pill now, start to get that into your system to help. And then coming off the birth control, you would actually need to do a post-birth control pill detox, which is like similar to what we do in well, it essentially is the same steps that we do in the Hormone Project, right? Gut, liver, adrenals, thyroid, support, all of that. Is rosacea related? Would you suggest the same you have discussed tonight? Yeah. And so, Shauna, for rosacea as well, too, this is definitely like there is a way too much heat. That is a heat situation in the liver. Probably a lot of food sensitivities as well too, and there's that systemic inflammation. How long would someone take the liver tincture for? Honestly, in the beginning, I say to people, like, I have most of the women that I work with, and again, I don't know you, but most of the women that I work with, I have them stay on that tincture for the first solid like 6 to 12 months, okay? You have to remember, this, when it is sold on the shelf in a store, this is not therapeutic dosing. This is like for the average person, because the company doesn't know you when you go in the store to buy this. So they need to know that it is safe for the general population. So you can take this for long periods of time. I've been taking liver tonics now for 3 years, but again, I know me, but I would safely say 6 to 12 months at least, okay? Thank you so much. I'm one of those people who needs to understand, not just be told. You're doing a great job explaining. Oh, thank you, Violet. That's a beautiful name, by the way. Good. I'm glad. Sometimes you don't know how the information is going to fall. Some people aren't interested. Thank you so much. Awesome. Good, good, good. Came off the pill a year ago. Noticed the white heads on my cheeks started showing up about 6 months later. It's been on and off since around ovulation or close. I get pimples around my nose or my chin, but the white little bumps are on and off. Is this considered hormonal acne? Okay, so not necessarily considered hormonal acne having the white little bumps. Typically, hormonal acne is going to be less of those clogged pores. You might see more blackheads and larger actual like cystic or bigger pimples. So what I would recommend if you haven't done it is I'd recommend going for a really good quality facial where they use beautiful, natural, organic products and to steam. And that is just probably some congestion that is moving from the inside out as part of that post-birth control detox that your body is going through. So I'd recommend doing a couple of those. Start to support your liver. If you came off the pill a year ago and you haven't done anything to support your liver, your gut, and your hormones, remember the birth control pill really functions in our gut and our biome like an antibiotic, and it does a lot of destruction. So I would be looking at doing a bit of a healing gut protocol, try some of the suggestions around the skincare and those types of things, and then see how that feels for your body. Okay. All right. And some of these other questions here I've already answered in those above. Awesome. 67 comments tonight. Very active group. That is amazing. Thank you all so much for joining me tonight. The replay will be up for those of you that are posting on the side that you want to find out more about the Hormone Project and about these protocols that I teach and utilize. Visit jenpike.com and go under the Hormone Project. I believe we have 6 spots left. I take 5 alumni who've already done it every year, and I take 20 brand new women. And so we start on October 1st. Everything is recorded if you can't get onto the classes live. We walk you through your private consult. Like, you are so taken care of in this program. I can't even explain it to you. You are so taken care of. So you can go on and take a deeper look. And please email me, message us, info@jenpike.com. Any clarifying questions, anything you're not sure about, ask us, please. Where do I recommend going for really good quality facial? I go downtown. So I go to Clarity Med Spa is where I go. I love the products they use. I love the systems that they use. So that's in like Summerhill area. But again, go on Facebook. Who goes to an amazing facialist who uses natural products, gentle on the skin? Give me their info. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Awesome. All right, ladies, have an awesome rest of your night. Those of you that just watched this as the replay, please don't hesitate to post your comments below. I will be paying attention to this over the next little bit. You are welcome. Oh, Solange gives organic facials with Dr. Hoshka, which is another company I love. Their tinted moisturizer is the bomb, and so is their toner, and she's in Mississauga. So there you go. Oh, you are welcome. Thank you all so much for hanging out here with me tonight. It means a lot. Please share with as many women as you can. Have an awesome night, everyone. Take care.